Hey there, guys. Uh, Wanted to do a quick update. The weather was freezing last night, so I kind of had to stop, and I literally had to change plans for staining. I planned to share so much more, but because of the freeze coming in, I had to do it the day before. So right here's that center platform. So this isn't too long. Let me just get to the point. Sorry about the mess. I just want to hurry up and get this done because there's more freeze coming. As you see, I have it jigged up a little bit of the wheel wells, and this is the platform that's going to be in the center. And I literally, those sticks there, I had both these sides drying in the bus, and really looking forward to getting this done. But I'm also, like I said, I really apologize about the shaky camera work. This is all new to me. And, oh, the app's saying I can do this, do that. I guess after I start the live, I can't change the camera rotation. And like I said, I'm learning as I go with this technology. So bear with me. And once we know better, we do better. And with that being said, the paint sticks are just spacers to keep it off. And those are definitely coming out. That's kind of a no-brainer. It's not real warm outside, but I'm grateful for what I've gotten done. So let me show you what we are doing here. As you see, oops, hold on. Sorry, the screen don't like when I turn it like that. All right. As you see, there's a bare spot here. There's a bare spot on these cross members, and what these are going to do. Let me grab this real quick. We are going to set this up so that gets glued there and gets glued there. And I was going to glue this cross piece, but I decided against it. That was a little much. I just tack glue anyways, add a little more strength. The screws are fine with the bracing and all that. And the glue might be a little overkill. Glue we're going to use is Tight Bond 3, the waterproof stuff for outside. And yeah, let's figure this out. There's going to be a lot of me setting the camera down and picking it back up because we're live here. So if anyone comes on here and somebody says, well, I don't see anything, just tell them I set the camera down. I'm going to try to keep this picture mode. Let me grab the glue and stuff so it's not exciting as watching paint dry, but yeah, I don't know how that looks. Probably pretty boring. Yeah, the reason I had to go get the glue is because I had it sitting over by my heater getting warmed up, and it's good and ready now. I have the drills here ready, have that ready. All right, last thing I need is a catch pan, which I have right here as well. And today, we will be making this happen. Gluing it up, and we will get this center post down. Like I said, I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me turn that. There's the glue we're using, the Tight Bond 3. And that has been in front of the space heater. Here, I'll just turn it sideways. How's that? There we go. Tight Bond 3. Let me top popped on this thing. Make sure it's ready. I should have probably had this done before I went live. Apologize. Here we go. In the process of me, wow, this thing's set up in here. It's been a minute it's did this. I just thought I was going to go right at it. This is what I get for assuming. Huh. Wow. Pop the top. There it is. Yeah, good. Make sure that rod's out of there. She wants to flow. Yeah, good. Good and warm and creamy. There we go. That's why I like I sat in the bus last night, and I have the heat on, but it was still a little more cooler to my liking. But now that I'm ready with that, we'll discuss a few things and get this done. This whole journey has been very interesting. I wound up having to go above and beyond what I planned to do with this because stuff changed when I did it. No blueprint. Just this is what I'm going to do. And yeah, let me mess with it. Let me think about this. Little pen on the paper. No blueprint though. So try to get that little rag here. Here we go. Grab this. Excuse me, dog. Stay. So today's Monday, November 10th, I believe already. Wow. And we're already below freezing here in the evenings. We got a couple nights of it. I'm not sure how much longer it's supposed to stay. They say just a couple days, but it's kind of early. Usually it doesn't turn bad here till after Thanksgiving. But I'm sure people like in Idaho and stuff listen to this probably laughing. Yeah, that's nothing. 25 degrees. Yeah, that's just starting to get cold. There's places up north that, oh yeah. But there we go. I think I pretty well got myself set up, so if I get a big mess of glue, I'm on it. And it's not all over the place. Shouldn't have, but you never know. Dealing with glue. Better safe than sorry, because otherwise you got a whole bunch of stuff to do to clean up, get it off stuff, and because you weren't prepared. But anyways, we're started now. So let me set this knife down. I so should have had that done before, but kind of multitasking this morning, wanting to get it all done. Let's grab what we're going to need here. Got this, the blue. Just waiting to see if anybody really shows up. This camera angle's this camera angle feature in the software on this phone is a little bit above me. As I said, I'm still getting used to it, but we will get this glued up and done. I'm just looking for my other square. It was right here. But I swear I was ready this morning. Really, I do. I swear I was ready. But ain't no big deal. I'm going to leave for 1 second. I'll be right back. If the dog jumps in the camera, which he shouldn't. Sorry about that. He might make you laugh, but I'll be back in 1 second. This got to be the boringest live ever. Alright, made it back. Hope that wasn't too long. I literally had the screws in my hand and set them down, and what I'm going to be using, and I get no affiliate for this, is some screws I picked up at Home Depot called Deck Mates. And we're going to be using a 3-inch screw today. And here, let me just show you. I got a bunch of these screws, but here. There we go. We'll get this more in focus with this camera. Here we go. That's Deckmate 3-inch screws, and this is basically for people that might be wanting to do this and maybe don't have a lot of experience. I don't know where everybody's at. What I found doing this stuff, it works best for me, is as you see, it says it comes with a free Torx bit. Right there, free bit. A free Torx bit, right? Now, everybody knows they make bit holders and stuff, and they're about 2 inches long, 3 inches long. Some of them are shorter. And I have a couple of real good ones. But the issue with that is the screw is already 3 inches. I'm going to pre-drill, but I really don't... I would really prefer, unless I'm having to use a long extension, here's what I do. I put the bit right in the end of the screw gun because I already got 3 inches. If I have something else that's another 3 inches, that's 6 inches, and it's wobbly going in. And I mean, screws tip sideways. Like I said, the fact that we're pre-drilling helps. That helps. But I've had, trying to say this right. These are Torx, but like back in the days with Phillips and stuff like that, I really had them slip off and maybe hit the wood or something like that, and that's why And the torque feature going in, this is pine, you really ain't going to need that much. When you use an extension, you lose torque. It takes it off. When you're straight to the drill, that's as torquey as it gets. And anyways, that's enough tech because it's enough. There we go. The other part I was going to do, I'm really trying not to make stick with me and watch paint dry video. I hope that joke's not getting old. Let me check my clamp here. Yeah, rubber tip. There we go. Oh, got wood up in here. Yeah, so I just figured I'd make some live videos because editing and stuff is a problem. This is what you get. Shaky, and it is what it is, but let's move forward with all this. And hopefully I'm not being too technical. Just like I said, there's probably some professional people that do handyman service or worked in a cabinet stuff, and like, yeah, tell me something I don't know, dude, really. But like I said, if that is you, please be patient for the newer people on this, because like I said, everybody's at a different, what I'm trying to say is everybody's at a different level, and I realize that. And when I grew up, you didn't go to school to learn something. I mean, some people did, but you went to work and the men there trained you. There weren't a lot of trade schools, and thank God, because a lot of these trade schools, some, are all about the money. Very expensive, and you see them charge people a lot of money for something that, well, in this country, sadly to say, a lot of the trades are going away. They're letting some other country do it. Except for what they have to do here. Like garbage pickup, you're not going to do that from Taiwan. So the guy driving the garbage truck around the back of the garbage truck's job's more secure than the CEO. Ain't that crazy? But that's just how it is. Okay. So we got this first joint square. Right there, there's the square. I want to set it like that. And next thing I'm going to do... Sorry about that. I bumped the camera again. Now I got to go back and check to see if I'm square. Man, I really got to get somebody to hold the camera for me. But there we go. We're going to get this set right back in there. Talk about blow up on the fingers. The close-up. Here we go. Let's set this to the side. Let's pull it in. There it is. She's tight. We know that's a pretty fat setting. Let me do it without the camera. Let's give us a little cheater mark right here. Just enough to see. I don't know if that'll show up on camera. Yeah, I can see it. Good enough. And that's where that one's going to set. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm getting ready to put a clamp in. And you'll see this in just a second on where it needs to start. I do apologize to everyone because I thought this would be a lot quicker. Well, I'm just going to show you my madness, what I'm doing here. This is the plan for the start. There we go, and that joint looks terrible. That's why it's going to be glued by the top and screwed in by the bottom, and just a little glue. That's why we're using deck screws. And what I've done is I just got a starter clamp. All I want to do is get the location, but I'm going to clamp this thing down and screw these. I'm going to start with this side right here. That's the plan. Now that I got that one set where it's supposed to be, I'm going to go ahead and set this side. I hope that makes sense. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and set this side together with the glue, do our drilling and all that. So, some more watching paint dry. Sorry about that. I really need to get a camera holder. Probably got one, but this is all to keep from making a bunch of live videos. I think everybody pretty well gets the gist of it. I'm not screwing the top plank down, and you'll see when I pull this apart what I'm doing. Right now, all I'm doing is setting the jig. Setting the starting base is all I'm doing. That's all I want to do. Then I'm going to pull it off, so that's so I can go adjust the other side, which you'll see. This is going to be kind of a long live, man. I'm not. Well, here, let me just set this one up where it's supposed to be. There we go. Yeah, that looks about right. It really does. So, that being said, I think we can do that. Let me check the other side and I'll show you what I got. All right, it's looking good. I'm just moving some clamps before I pick this phone back up. It's funny because nowadays, back in the days, that would have been a camera. Now it's a clamp, and that's hilarious. That would have been, I gotta hold the camera, now everything's done from the phone, that's what I'm trying to say. Here we go. Amazing how time moves on. There we go. All right, that looks about good, as the old saying goes, it looks good from my house. Back in the day, it's was a joke. Looks good from my house. All I can tell you. All right, now let me give you some more boring details. As I said, there's the first top plank that's going across. That is not getting screwed down yet or glued. Only area we're focusing on is right here. That joint right there. We're going to make it, we're going to drill our hole and we're going to screw to that. That's exactly what we're going to do. On both sides, I got them set up. So I'm going to do some drilling, some starting screw, and we'll go back and look at what I did. And it's only going to have one screw side to side because the glue is going to help hold it, and it's going to get fired down by screws that'll be held in place. Just a little glue on the joint. And some people probably say, why you bother? But a little extra helping hand helps. Once that's glued and screwed, we're going to release the clamps and pull the top board here. And on all my boards, I taped them off on the staining on the back side. And as you see, the top of this is bare too. That's going to get one small glue line before when this gets fired down. The only one I didn't do is this side here. I didn't tape that off. I didn't tape that off. This is the only one on the rest of the decking that's going across this platform that didn't get taped off to be glued. It's screwed in. It's going to be screwed in about every 3 inches. I got to do the math on it, but I think it's every 3 inches, 4 inches. We'll get back on the math, but once that's screwed in, that's going to be plenty, and I'm sure that's making sense. Anyways, let me do less talking, more worky. We'll get this done. All right, I got my glue laid down. Just do one more smear coating, lift that sucker up a little bit, wipe it off the finish, and let's get this thing started where it belongs. Here we go. All right. Got my drill. Ouch. Here we go. All right. And there we go, that went pretty good. Let me wipe the glue out of my bit here, because the one thing I don't want is that to dry up. There we go. Well, let's grab a detonate. Alright. Like I said, sorry about the long pauses in what I'm doing. It's like I said, I really need to just get a camera holder that goes over my shoulder. But when this is done, I'm sure it'll be interesting enough to endure it. So I can see a lot of people probably playing it at double speed when the replay goes down. Can't say I blame them. But, alright. There we go. And yes, I was just talking about. Here we are. And there we go. It came out pretty good. Let me let you have a look at it. Keep in mind, it's a light glue joint is all it was. And right out the first one, I did I gotta go through and touch up where I drilled, but it's okay. There it is right there. And yes, that's a little bit of booger right there. I'll have to touch that up with the finish. But all in all, it's not too deep. It's drawn in, and that's the first one. I decided not to put 2 screws there because it's going to have a whole bunch here. When this gets fired down, that'll set it. And one more time, this is done on a table saw, and it's not the tightest joint. Anyways, as you can see, it's really not. There'll be enough deck screws in it to help it. Some people might accuse me of doing a little bit of overkill, but let's get this done. Here we go. Sorry about the shaky camera work, but it's the best I can do, and I am going to get a tripod, I think, because I passed one up, but I have a little mini tripod. I was thinking of what I was going to do with it, and boy, this would have been perfect. Let me set this back over here. It's always the startup, the setup, which is pretty well what this is. It's the boring part and most time consuming when you do this stuff. I remember back in the day, I had a lot of friends that did home businesses, their own businesses in people's homes. And I learned stuff from some great men, and one thing I did learn, and they were real sticklers on it, is a couple rules. When we were doing kitchen cabinets, and some of that stuff was kind of pricey lumber and stuff like that, cherries and stuff like that. They had a couple sayings and a couple rules. You measured twice, cut once, and you might have heard that one, but tell you something about that measuring twice, cut once stuff. When you're using really exotic lumber and stuff like that, stuff that costs a lot of money, doing cabinetry work and stuff, like how I showed you that joint was just done on a table saw, and it's really not the best. There was people that would call it very unprofessional, and that some of the high grade crown molding and stuff that we were doing, and even that, some of the trades that they've gone on, it's been kind of debatable even with that. But like I said, not trying to make this not too boring. There we go, got that set. Back to what I was saying, as I stay on point here, was to, like I said, measure twice, cut once, but use the same tape. Same tape that measured it should be the same tape that's doing the mark to cut it. And that was one of the rules. And a pretty good one, as I went on later to find out, a pretty good one. There's a lot of variance in tape measures between the rivets, between that. So if you're working on something high dollar, you definitely want to, you definitely want to make sure that it looks as professional as possible. And that's pretty high dollar stuff. So now with that being said, let me set up this other side. Oh. What am I doing here? Forgot that. Got a screwdriver. Oh, wait. As I was talking about high dollar lumber, none of this was high dollar lumber. This was stuff that's been sanded down, bought from Home Depot. I don't want to call it bottom of the barrel because we went through it. And like I said, I've worked with better, but this is rugged lumber and it's rustic build, and it fit the bill. Somebody will probably want this kind of work in their kitchen. But what this does look like is that old, colonial furniture. Well, they need to be stained a little darker. That's what this really reminds me of, kind of a colonial for the furniture look. And I'm laughing because I realized, yeah, these come with a health supplement. I don't know what they're doing there. I really don't. I think they might have fell out of my pocket when I was measuring something. And like I said, this long story to this, because this project should have been done about a year ago. It got put on hold. And the real interesting part about it, I got to do a measurement real quick of where I set that screw. Kind of remember. The real interesting part about it is, yeah, 3 inches down. That's looking like 3. Let me double check. The real interesting part about it is, I planned to just get it done about 2 months, and that didn't happen. And also what it did is that I had no intention of doing what I did with it. But it wound up being used for all kinds of stuff. Raising some baby chicks through the winter. A little bit of everything. Only just under 3 inches. That's where I'm going to go it. And one thing after another, and I got a good deal on shelves, and more stuff got put in this bus before we finished. And yeah, there's stuff I still need to stain. That's the wheel wells with the carriage bolt. Sorry to bore you with that shot. Oops. Huh, this is interesting. Oh, okay. It's taking pictures too. This is some pretty neat software. Let's get me back up to where I'm working. We're going to be building this side now. And as you see, that side tips out a little bit. And the board that I'm working with is a little warped. So what I'm going to do, I have a paint stick over on this side that I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, that'll work. Let me just flush out the rest real quick before I do this, before I go. Yeah, that pretty well draws it up. I can't see what you're seeing in the camera. I do apologize. Okay, right back here in my corner. I've raised that joint. Let me explain it this way. The reason that bottoms out just a little bit more is, like I said, this wood that I got, which is why I talked about it. Isn't exactly top grade, and warpage happens. It's just so you see what I've done to true it up. The plan, anyways. Get my fingers out of the program. That's a paint stick sitting right there. I don't know if you can see it or not in the camera. There we go. Yeah. As you see, I got a paint stick stuck underneath that thing that's lifting up on the edge of it just a little bit. And then I must take that flex out and screw it down. But now, as you see, there we go. Get my fat hand out of the way. That makes it a lot better. Yeah. I'll show you once I get it screwed up what I'm talking about. Once I get this screwed up, I'll show you. There we go. Let me get my rag. Now I got the dog that wants to play. Go away. Go. Good boy. There we go. Now you'll see what I'm doing. Let me show you. That's where we're going to stick our glue. There we go. I got it twisted sideways. And I am laying on my side. And that's what I'm saying. That little mini tripod that I laughed about. What am I going to do with that? Would have come in real handy for doing this. Lesson learned. I guess everything. At the time, I didn't think like I'd really need it. I really wish I would have got it. It was cheap too. But almost got this glued up. There we go. There we go. It's on the rough end, so one more time. This is for novice people that might not have a lot of spend. Especially on the rough end of the lumber. You put a coat and let it soak just a minute. Then you put another coat on top of it. And that's how you keep it from running all over the place. And you got good glue penetration. Especially into the piece that you're screwing into. This is how I was taught. End joints suck more glue than on the top. Some people might say, oh, you're full of crap. That's just what I was taught. There we go. There we go, we got that pulled in. Alrighty. Let me slide this back in this place. Here, let me show you first what I'm doing. I'll back up, got the glue off my hands. There we go, we got that glued up. Like I said, we put the first coat on it and then we rubbed in the second. Let it soak. And yeah, it's nice and tacky now because it's still warm enough in the bus. With the heat on, thankfully. Now, alright, that one's set. Now I just got to push it back together. No worries. Okay, put that joint together. Pull it like this. Set it in. And keep in mind, all I'm setting in is the bottom. There we go. Sorry about that. Here we go. Sorry about the long wait, so I'm trying to say. Alright. Until this joint gets sucked up, it's never going to be perfect. What matters is I'm straight. What matters is my joint is straight with the bottom brace. Let me point a camera so what I'm talking about. What matters is this part right here, because this is going to be released. So, yeah. Everything's flush on, except this piece right here, which isn't screwed down yet, thankfully. So, here we go. Let's do this. Okay. Alrighty, here we are. Not sure what just happened. Is battery dying? What's going on?